What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a great day today. You're watching On Air with Nick Driver. Nick Driver podcast here on YouTube. I drop fresh, hot content daily. Guys, hope you guys are having a blessed day. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content here. Ring that bell, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming video releases. Guys,
we got a pretty rowdy story here.
There's some demonic, quote-unquote, demonic killings linked to alleged transgender cult members. This is a pretty rowdy story, guys. Let's get into it.
We are learning new details in the bizarre story of a cult allegedly linked to the killing of a U.S. Border Patrol agent, David Maland. On Sunday, Maryland State Police arrested 3 alleged members of the group known as Zizians. Among them, the alleged leader, who was ordered held without bond by a Maryland court yesterday. They joined 2 already in custody. The Zizians, just so you know, have been tied to 6 killings across 3 states.
Wow.
So one of those was the U.S. Border Patrol agent, Maland. He died on Inauguration Day, January 20th, near the Canadian border in Vermont. And 2 others who were killed were alleged members of the cult. National correspondent Griff Jenkins has more. And so, Griff, this will be the first time many of us will hear of Zizians, but apparently the feds have been watching them for a while.
They have. And good morning, Harris. This has all the makings of a Netflix cult docudrama. These Zizians appear to be a group of mostly transgender computer scientists who met online, united in anarchist beliefs, including radical veganism, and turned violent. The 3 members of the cult you mentioned arrested on charges of trespassing and gun possession in a very remote area of Maryland. It included the alleged leader you see here, 34-year-old Jack Lasota on the left side of your screen. He goes by the name Ziz. There are 2 other members as well. Allegheny County's sheriff says he has no idea why they were there.
They gave different names, which is a telltale sign they're trying to hide something. So that's why I believe the officers checked a little further, started running some more checks. The only thing that I'm curious about is why they chose this particular area to try to camp out at. And we're still developing that.
The Zizians are tied, as you mentioned, to at least 6 murders spanning the country in 3 states from California.
Wow, guys. This Zizian group tied to 6 deletions of human beings.
California to Pennsylvania and Vermont, including the deaths of a landlord in California in 2022, an elderly couple in Pennsylvania, and of course, Border Patrol agent Maland in Vermont last month. Just 20 miles he was killed from the Canadian border. But little is known about the group or its motives, Harris. Independent journalist Andy No has been tracking them for a while.
I would describe some of the crimes that they're accused of as being demonic. You could say an elderly couple that were killed in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, were shot execution style in their homes on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago. FBI dropped the ball on this because the killings go back to 2022.
But that last point, Harris, these 3 in Maryland, including the leader that's being held, the FBI, according to Maryland officials, have gotten very involved in this case, trying to put the pieces together. Harris?
Yeah, I think it's so important what President Trump is doing now, because he is focusing on the southern border, but you often will hear him mention the northern border too.
Yeah.
And we know that the numbers had started to tick up during the Biden's latter part of his administration. So there's work to do in the north, which is why the president's had all those conversations with Canada. And even at one point, Griff said that, hey, your option is to become the 51st state of the United States. He was joking, but we'll see.
All right, guys. So this is a pretty rowdy story right here. So you have a cult named the Zizian cult. Here it looks like they're going around the United States deleting human beings. It's kind of crazy, and it's very scary to think of people that go that far to do things. And clearly they have some sort of extreme viewpoints or something going on with some sort of mental illness in order to be doing some of these things, man. You know, this has just got Manson vibes all over it almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty rowdy when you think about it. And I read that one of the Zizian cult members was actually declared deleted in San Francisco, but was, you know, walking around committing these crimes. Guys, the crazy thing about this is the FBI definitely dropped the ball on this.
3 members of the alleged radical vegan Zizian cult have been arrested. Maryland officers brought in Jack Ziz Lasota, the alleged leader of the group, along with Michelle Zajko and Daniel Blank on February 16th.
The Zizians have been tied to 6 killings across 3 states.
I would describe some of the crimes that they're accused of as being demonic, you could say.
The trio appeared in front of a judge days after their arrest and were all held without bail. Lasota, at one point, interrupted the judge to say he would starve unless he was given vegan food in jail. So, who are the Zizians?
These Zizians appear to be a group of mostly transgender computer scientists who met online, united in anarchist beliefs, including radical veganism, and turned violent.
In 2016, Lasota, a transgender woman and computer programmer in the San Francisco Bay Area, began blogging under the online persona Ziz, sharing intricate and often meandering theories. The group is involved in practices including unihemispheric sleep, a state similar to hypnosis where people sleep with one eye open. The practice is intended to demonstrate that the brain's 2 hemispheres are separate identities that, according to Lasota's blog, often desire to kill each other. Lasota and 3 others were arrested at a 2019 protest where they donned hoods and Guy Fawkes masks while protesting a Berkeley rationality and cognitive bias nonprofit. They called it a protest against sexual misconduct within rationalist organizations. By 2020, the Zizians had established a base of sorts in Vallejo, California, first living on a boat, and then in box trucks on a property owned by landlord Curtis Lind. He didn't charge the group rent during the pandemic, but once he did request some payment, the Zizians refused to pay up and leave despite eviction warnings. Lind, frustrated with non-payment and growing tensions, gave them a final deadline, November 17. 2 days before that deadline, on November 15, 2022, Lind was attacked. According to police reports, one of the Zizians, Emma Borhanian, swung a sword at him.
Yeah, man, this has got Manson vibes all over it, guys. I know I said that earlier, but you guys have ever seen the story of Charles Manson and what was going on actually on that quote-unquote ranch he was living on? Bruh, this is like, it's insanely similar.
Partially blinding him. Lind, acting in self-defense, shot and killed Borhanian. Local authorities arrested 2 Zizians, Alexander Leatham and Suri Dow, charging them with murder. Weeks later, the Zizians scattered. Some traveled across state lines, with Lasota, Michelle Zajko, and others reappearing in Pennsylvania. And more murder followed.
An elderly couple that were killed in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, were shot execution style in their homes on New Year's Eve.
Police found a gruesome scene. Richard and Rita Zajko, Michelle's parents, had been shot to death. Authorities quickly focused on Michelle Zajko, who had a rocky relationship with her parents. A doorbell camera captured audio of a car pulling up, a voice shouting "Mom," and a struggle before gunshots rang out. Police questioned Zajko but did not initially charge her. Instead, she was arrested weeks later for obstruction and trespassing in an unrelated incident while hiding out in a Pennsylvania hotel with Lasota. Both were soon released. By January 2025, the Zizians had returned to California, and Curtis Lind, the landlord who had barely survived the sword attack, was still prepared to testify against the group. On January 17, 2025, Lind was found murdered in his home. Authorities charged another Zizian, 22-year-old Maximilian Snyder, with the killing. Prosecutors allege Snyder was sent to kill Lind specifically to prevent him from testifying.
Wow.
2 days later, the Zizians' activities took an even deadlier turn. On January 20th, 2025, U.S. Border Patrol agent David Maland stopped a suspicious vehicle in Coventry, Vermont. A car connected to Felix Bockholt and Teresa Youngblood. Moments later, gunfire erupted. Maland was killed in the shootout. Bockholt also died at the scene. Youngblood was shot and wounded, but survived. Authorities quickly linked the handgun back to the Zizians. It was bought by Michelle Zajko, who was still a suspect in the murder of her parents. By February 16, 2025, law enforcement had gathered enough evidence to make a move. Now, with Lasota and key members behind bars, authorities are piecing together the full extent of the group's crimes.
Guys, that is a crazy story, man. You know, this stuff is pretty rowdy. You know, this is definitely one of those stories that is pretty sad, and it ventures into the very dark parts of the human heart, human mind, man. You guys, let me know what you guys are thinking. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care. You watch your On Air Nick Java podcast here on YouTube. And whatever you do, guys, man, just be safe out there, man.